Hello everyone, welcome to LeetCode Weekly, where every week we cover a few LeetCode problems. Here we have today's daily problem, problem 1877, minimize maximum pair sum in an array. We're given an array of numbers called nums, and the length of this array is even. Our task is to pair up every element so that each number appears in exactly one pair, and then we compute the sum of each pair and look at the maximum pair sum, and then we need to minimize that maximum. So we don't care about the total sum, and we don't care about the smallest pair sum either. We need to control the worst pair. So for example, if the pairs were 1 and 5, 2 and 3, and 4 and 4, their sums are 6, 5 and 8, and the maximum is therefore 8. So the goal is to pair numbers in such a way that keeps that maximum as small as possible. So a naive idea might be to generate all the possible pairings and compute the maximum pair sum for each one, and return the minimum one. But the issue is that the number of ways to pair elements grows way too fast. For n equals 100,000, the number of pairings is too much, and this becomes a factorial level problem. It's completely impossible to compute within time limits. Even slightly smarter approaches like trying random pairings or greedily pairing similar numbers, using backtracking, etc., they still either miss the optimal solution or they just blow up in runtime. So we need a strategy that's deterministic, efficient, and guaranteed to be optimal. This is where our greedy strategy comes in. So the key idea is that we need to minimize the maximum pair sum, so we need to balance the pairs as much as possible. We need to neutralize a larger number with a smaller one. So our first step is going to be to sort the array. When it's sorted, the smallest number is on the left and the largest number is on the right. And then we pair the smallest with the largest. If you pair the smallest number with the largest and the second smallest with the second largest, you're preventing large numbers from being paired together, which will create a huge sum. This distributes large values evenly and keeps every pair balanced and minimizes the worst case pair sum. So sorting takes O of n log n, one pass through the array takes O of n, and extra space uses O of n due to sorting. So in the end, our time complexity is O of n log n, and the space complexity is O of n. This is optimal and easily passes the constraints. So for our solution, we first need to sort the nums array, so nums.sort. And then we create a variable called maxSum, and this will track the maximum pair sum we encounter. Now we're going to store the length of the array so we don't have to recompute it. So n equals length of nums. And now we're going to loop through the array. So for I in range n integer divide by 2. Now you might be wondering why we had to integer divide, because it tells us in the question that the length of the array is even. And the reason is that range only accepts integers, so integer divide is one way to combat that, or we could just convert it to an int. Current pair sum equals nums at index I, so that's the smaller one, plus nums at index n minus 1 minus I, so that's on the other end of the array. Now if current pair sum is greater than maxSum, we're going to update our maxSum variable, so maxSum equals current pair sum. And at the end, we return maxSum. So if we run this, it's been accepted, and if we submit, there we go. Thanks for tuning into LeetCode Weekly. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching.